up with Jake and Fulton coming to you on a Thursday. Approaching 3 days away from the Chiefs hopefully winning their second Super Bowl under Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. We've got a lot of Super Bowl coverage to break down today. We will get to all of that. We're going to talk about the number one pass defense versus the number one pass offense. What does that mean? What does it mean?
It means that the number one pass defense is the number one pass offense.
We'll break that down. Super Bowl prop bets, another day of prop bets.
The 8-legger has been constructed.
It has. We're going to get to that coming up.
It probably won't hit.
I'm liking it, Fulton.
Listen, if there was ever me to have good vibes on a large, gambly parlay, I think we both are in the right ballparks. I think we are. So I think when we unveil this later on today, I think the people will like it. And I think you and I might be slightly richer men come Monday.
Maybe.
We might be richer men come the end of tonight. And if honors us this evening,
that's
Jake.
right. That is, yeah. That Patrick Mahomes will not be there. What's that going to be like when the MVP is not there and the Walter Payton Man of the Year is not there?
What's it going to be like when the MVP is not there, the Walter Payton Man of the Year is not there, the Defensive Player of the Year is not there? I mean, I don't know what you're going to do.
I feel like the Defensive Player of the Year.
I know he probably will, but I just wanted to say it. I just wanted to say it.
We got plenty to discuss. We're going to hear from Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. Last time they're meeting with the media today. A lot to break down here on this Thursday edition. As always, hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. Very simple, very easy. Let us know. You can check us out on YouTube. Go to Sports on 580 on YouTube. So simple, so easy. Go to youtube.com or just Google Sports on 580 YouTube. Very simple. Click the subscribe button. You'll get all the updates, reaction, recaps, all of that. You can check us out on our website, 580wwaw.com as well. I do want to mention this. Today and tomorrow, our sister stations, 94.5 Country, Classic Country 106.9, are asking listeners to become a partner in hope in the St. Jude Radiothon presented by Camel Dahmer of Topeka. The money raised from the Radiothon is amazing. It is awesome. It helps doctors, researchers at St. Jude, the Children's Research Hospital. St. Jude won't stop fighting until no child dies from cancer. The only way to get the This Shirt Saves Lives t-shirt is by becoming a monthly donor for just $19 a month. The Dr. Pepper Phone Bank is standing by each day from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 1-800-592-3530 or, very simple, go to my94country.com or mycountry1069.com to join the fight. The St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is maybe the greatest thing in the world. No cap. It is. So, help out some kids. Fulton, when was the last time the number one pass offense went up against the number one pass defense?
It's probably been a minute.
It's only happened twice since 1999 when the stats were accumulated. The last time it happened was in 2013 between the Broncos and the Seahawks, in which the Seahawks won maybe the boringest Super Bowl in history, 43-8.
Yeah, unless you're a Seahawks fan, that was not an enjoyable game to watch.
That was the last time the number one pass offense went up against the number one pass defense. Right now, the Eagles have the number one pass defense in the NFL. The Chiefs have the number one offense. Normally, this favors the defense. It does. It normally favors the defense. However, if you're going to compare the 2013 Super Bowl and that Seahawks versus Broncos team versus the Chiefs and this Eagle team, I will tell you this. The Eagles secondary is not even in the same galaxy as that 2013 Seahawks secondary.
Yeah, this Eagles secondary is good. It is not even in the same universe as the Legion of Boom. Not even close.
One, better players for Seattle.
Yeah.
Two, the game is completely changed since 2013.
Yeah.
You didn't have Mr. Boom Boom, Cam Chancellor. You can't have Cam Chancellor in the NFL anymore.
Cam Chancellor gotten flagged for a few more of those hits nowadays.
So that is first and foremost. This Eagles pass rush, to me, helps out their secondary immensely. Mm-hmm. There are two ways that you end up really, really good as a pass defense. You either have elite corners and safeties, or you have an elite pass rush. The 2013 Seahawks had arguably one of the greatest secondaries in NFL history with Sherman, Chancellor, Earl Thomas, and Maxwell. I think the Seahawks secondary benefits a lot from their pass rush. The other thing that I will say about this, what do you remember about that Broncos team in 2013? They had a statue of a quarterback back in the backfield in Peyton Manning.
Could not move.
Could not move. And I want people to understand that the ankle for Patrick Mahomes is not getting talked about enough to me. It isn't. Maybe it's because it's 2 weeks and maybe the Chiefs are downplaying it like, oh, we're fine. No biggie. We're good. He's going to be able to do everything. But that's part of the reason why Patrick Mahomes goes to 11 and is on his own tier. Is we can see what Patrick Mahomes can do in the pocket. Just ask the Bengals. He got outside the pocket twice and threw one pass outside the pocket against the Bengals. When he's healthy, if you recall, we talked about this on the radio. He was number one in most pass yards outside of the pocket, second most completions outside of the pocket. That is what he is so good at, is outside the pocket. On top of, he'll still slice and dice you for 3 bills and 2 tutties inside the pocket, because that's what he did against the Bengals. How his ankle is able to hold up over the entire game. We saw in the first half, the ankle was feeling pretty good. But what if he tweaks it? That changes everything in this game. But nobody's talking about the ankle anymore. Nobody is. And I think that still might be the biggest intangible. I mean, I guess it is a tangible situation. But whether or not he rolls it again, tweaks it again, is the biggest variable in this game. We talked about on defense. I think Steve Spagnuolo is so important with the game plan that he puts together. When's he going to blitz? What's he going to play? I think that is so important for this Chiefs defense. Offensively, it is how are they going to block the guys up front? Because I think now that we kind of know, Tony or Andy Reid running around like crazy. Juju, full participant. It feels like this Chiefs offensive weaponry outside of Hardman is going to be good to go.
Feels like they're trying to get back into the groove.
So that means it's just, can they block the guys up front, which is a legitimate question. Mm-hmm. But the biggest variable is in the entire game is that ankle. If that ankle's good to go, then Patrick Mahomes is going to end up creating a lot more plays with his feet, throwing it like he always does, because that Eagles pass rush is not going to be in uniform. They're not going to pass rush, right up together. No, that's not going to happen. One's going to get pushed out. Patrick Mahomes is going to squeeze up in there and make a play if his ankle allows him to. So that ankle is important. That's the biggest difference as well in the fact that number one defense, number one offense. Normally, the number one defense wins. Normally. However, when a top-rated passing offense goes up against a top-rated passing defense, the defense normally wins, except for one time. Super Bowl 54. Fulton, who played in Super Bowl 54?
That'd be the Chiefs and the 49ers, Jake.
Who's that quarterback there?
For the Chiefs, that'd be Patrick Mahomes II.
Huh. So the one guy who's been able to find a way to take down a top-rated passing defense while having a top-rated passing offense is Patrick Mahomes. Funny how that works out, huh?
It is, and that's the thing where...
Now, the 49ers were the number one that year.
But they were very good.
They were top five.
They were. And here's the thing, and this is where I think it is very... And I want to, I think it's very important to point out the Eagles' defense is very good. They have a ability maybe to cause some problems and all this stuff, because that is important. We've also seen one very specific thing out of Patrick Mahomes his entire career. When his team is relatively healthy, they seem to shred top defenses. The Bucs earlier this year, when they faced them in week 4 or whatever, at the time, we talked about it, they hadn't allowed more than 20 points. They were cruising. They were crushing everyone.
They were.
Chiefs hung a 41 burger on them. Chiefs play the 49ers out in San Francisco. Man, Niners offense is kind of, it's not a Jimmy G. They're playing pretty well. That 49ers defense, they're a little banged up, but they're getting healthy at the right time, because it seems like every team just would choose to get healthy against Kansas City, which kind of tracks with the whole being the hunted thing. But they had their pretty much full complement. They had Nick Bosa. They had Taloni Huafunga. They had all those good players. Chiefs put up 44 points on them. Patrick Mahomes threw for 400 yards. It even goes beyond that. Look at other years. Look at the Bills in last year's playoffs in the divisional round. That was a shootout. Mahomes is hanging up points on a vaunted Bills defense.
You remember we need to change the overtime rule.
Yeah.
Not your number one defense couldn't get a damn stop in 13 seconds.
And that's the thing. In his entire career from 2018, since he's been the starter onwards, when the Chiefs play a great statistically top 5 defense, Patrick Mahomes cuts them up. The only time he didn't was Super Bowl 55. Don't know why I can never remember the numbers of these things. When, they faced a great defense, and Mahomes, they only put up 9 points. It was the biggest loss in the Mahomes era, essentially. He also didn't have an offensive line. And more importantly, as we've talked about a lot, they should have put up more than 9 points as the receivers catch the ball. He was still making plays. So now, that game highlights the importance of when he needs it against a great defense, he needs his mobility. And I think that is truly, as you noted, is a great key to this. If he can't move, then it becomes a big problem. But he ran well enough against Cincinnati until he tweaked it, and that changed everything. He's had 2 more weeks to work on it. He himself says he feels pretty good.
He's going to say that, though. And I believe him.
I believe him to a level.
The only reason I believe him is because he did look better than expected, and he got an extra week, but
that's the only reason I think he'll be better than he was against Cincinnati. He said more times to repair, no reported setbacks, seems fine. He's still going to be 100%. And so there's always still the question of, if he lands wrong on a throw, if he gets rolled up on, re-aggravating the injury.
That's why I don't think the ankle injury is getting talked about enough.
I really thought it was going to be talked about a lot more, because that's all it was last week.
It's
2 weeks ago.
It's basically now being discussed just because we talked about it so much the week of the AFC title game, and you're just glossing over, he's got 2 weeks, so he'll be completely healthy.
I think it's, at least with the ankle, it's a combination of he looked better against Cincinnati than expected until he tweaked it, which, at that point, you're like, okay, you tweak an injury. That happens. And then I think, with the extra 2 weeks, it was just like, he'll be fine because he looked already better. You should get better as time goes and all that. But it's still worth noting and worth monitoring. He's still going to need it to hold up for an entire game, because I think his escapability and his maneuverability is going to be even more important, because that's a way, we talk about the Chiefs having a low sack rate. Patrick Mahomes doesn't get sacked a lot. That's in part because this offensive line does put in good work. The other part is just he's slippery. It's when he can fully move, it is hard to corral him. And so that's where another piece against this Eagles team is the offensive line needs to be able to block, but Mahomes has got to be able to help them out with some maneuverability because it's rare for an offensive line to be perfect. It asks them a lot to be perfect. It's even more like, Chiefs fans, you got to be prepared for Sunday. Like, this offensive line can have a great performance. And they're showing some plays where they get blown up. Because that's what happens when you face 4 great pass rushers. When you face a guy like Hassan Reddick, like Andrew Wiley is going to do the best he can. There's going to be 2 to 3 plays on Sunday where Hassan Reddick makes him look like a child.
Maybe that should be your prop bet, Hassan Reddick sack.
Because Hassan Reddick is so
over that
good.
Question real quick. You're just going to gloss over it.
I'm not going to fully gloss over it. You make a valid point. But because like as great as Andrew Wiley can try and be and he can play a great game, Hassan Reddick is a 230-pound speed rusher. He is fast. That's how he makes most of his moves, is quickness and agility. Chiefs tackles, if they have a really big weakness, it's speed.
Yep.
Orlando Brown on the other side, his biggest weakness is speed. It's power, he'll get you. He's a big old boy. But if you get moving quicker than him, you can get him. So it's going to be interesting. But Mahomes can help out on those few losses they might have as a blocking unit with moving.
If he was healthy, I wonder how much the line is affected in this. If Mahomes was healthy, and maybe Vegas thinks he's going to be healthy enough to play, and that's why Vegas still has the Eagles the favorite. Remember, this is the first time Patrick Mahomes is legitimately an underdog in the playoffs. The very first time he is an underdog. The game against the Bengals, he was an underdog, but then they realized, oh, he's healthy, and then by the time the game kicked off, it flipped. This has stayed Eagles minus 1.5 this entire time.
This is also that time to remind you that Patrick Mahomes only one time has not at least created a push on the spread when he's been a dog in his career.
Yeah.
I just want to remind everyone of that.
Coming up next, the NBA is just banana land. It really, really is. We'll get to that. We're going to talk with Jared Dubin, covers the NFL for CBS, coming up here in about 10 minutes.
Neighbors.
just it's a wild time. For some odd reason, the Dallas Mavericks wanted to trade for Kyrie Irving. Let me tell you how that's gonna end up. Not good, because everywhere Kyrie Irving is gone, it has been a disaster.
Doom and destruction.
I just don't understand that. It's like that one image, one segment off of Arrested Development. Maybe it will work for us.
Did it work for any of those people? No,
of course
it didn't.
not.
But maybe it'll work for us.
Maybe it'll work for us.
It's also the anytime Kyrie screws up and then starts asking to leave and stuff like that. Said I think you should leave sketch with the hot dog suit of like, we're all trying to find the guy who did this.
Yeah,
it's you, Kyrie.
We already know who it is.
It's you, Kyrie.
So Irving leaves, and then all of a sudden Durant is gone. Durant asked to be traded this offseason?
Yeah, so he asked to be traded this offseason in the beginning of the Kyrie Irving drama. Then then Durant rescinded the request.
Yes.
Then they did all their stuff. It was pretty much known the moment Irving was moved, Durant was going to move because he didn't want to be there. Like, Durant knew if Irving got moved, they weren't going to be good. They were probably going to start blowing some stuff up. So just get rid of me. Like, that was kind of the beginning impetus with the whole offseason thing. So, like, the minute Kyrie got moved, everyone knew Durant was actually getting moved. Like, it was going to finally happen. And it did. And Phoenix, enjoy. Also, Phoenix, your best players are all becoming dinosaurs in the world of sports, and your other best player can't stay healthy.
If Paul, Durant, and Booker are able to be healthy, they're winning the whole thing.
They got a good chance.
But I don't know if they're going to be healthy.
That's the $1 million question. Chris Paul, old. Kevin Durant, still great, but old.
Yeah.
Devin Booker can't stay healthy.
Paper mache.
Yeah. Paper mache body.
Yeah. DeAndre
Ayton hates his entire life down there in Phoenix.
But he is either really good or doesn't show up at all. Like, there's a lot of
which is heavily spurred by he hates his life in Phoenix. He does not want to be in that.
How can you hate Phoenix?
He doesn't like the team he plays for.
Then why did you sign there?
They offer. I don't know. I don't know enough. Like, I don't know about the ins and outs enough of the NBA to know why he decided to stay back there or what that entire situation was. I just know DeAndre Ayton does not like being there because he doesn't like his head coach,
Monty Williams. Coming up next, we're going to talk all things NFL with Jared Dubin of CBS Sports.
With so many apps.
From Andy Reid and from Travis Kelce. We'll get to Everyone Loves the List. Our list today is going to be former players that you would have liked to seen them win a Super Bowl. Our Everyone Loves the List topic this week have all been Super Bowl related. And so we're going to go with guys that you would have wanted to win a Super Bowl and didn't.
I'm intrigued if we have at least one of these that are the exact same.
I think we're gonna have one.
I think so too.
I think
I know the exact one.
We got a bit of an age difference here, so that's why maybe I got a few more older dudes.
Yeah,
and you got some more, recent individuals.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that as well. Plus, Super Bowl prop bet day number 4. We'll get to that. In fact, we might as well go right out of the gate and ask our next guest his favorite Super Bowl prop bet. We bring in Jared Dubin, covers the NFL for CBS. You can follow him on Twitter at JADubin5, DUBIN5. Jared, thank you so much for taking the time and talking with us. And I might as well get right into it. What is your favorite on the field prop bet for the Super Bowl coming up?
Oh, man, I wish I had prepared for this before I came on. I would have looked up some prop bets. What's the over-under for sacks from the Eagles? They led the league in sacks this year with 70. And, even though the Kansas City offensive line is really good and Patrick Mahomes is really good at avoiding sacks, I do feel like they'll probably get at least 1 or 2 in there. And depending on what that line is, I could be interested in that.
Let's see. Just a quick little Google search real quick on sacks. It looks like, you can do team to record most sacks. The Eagles are minus 130. I feel like that's pretty good. That's pretty good odds right there, to be honest with you, right off the top.
Yeah, that seems pretty good to me.
That's actually not too bad. We've gone through that every single day. I've given one and Fulton has given one where we think it'll end up coming to fruition, and we will eventually wager on that as the great state of Kansas now does have sports gambling. So we're hoping we're actually going to be smart enough and maybe make $1 or $2 off of it. When it comes to this game, I've asked this to every single person we've had on the show talking about this. There are 4 parts to this game: the Chiefs offense, Chiefs defense, and you got the Eagles offense, Eagles defense. What do you think has the most emphasis and the most impact on the game? Which one of those 4?
I'm going to say the Eagles defense against the Chiefs offense, just because the Eagles on offense this season have shown an ability to sort of shapeshift and attack whatever defense they're playing, attack that team's weakness. I feel pretty good about them being able to move the ball, whether it's through the air or on the ground, however they decide how they're going to want to do things. The Chiefs, I think, is a little bit more of an open question just because of all of the injuries that they're dealing with right now. Not just Mahomes and his eye ankle sprain, but also basically the entire wide receiver core. And I'm curious to see how Kansas City deals with that and where they choose to attack.
Are you surprised? We actually just got done talking about this. Are you surprised the ankle injury hasn't been, a bigger topic? Because that is so important for the Chiefs. We know Patrick Mahomes is terrific in the pocket. Just look what he did against the Bengals. But when he's outside the pocket is where he becomes Superman, and nobody seems to stop him. Is it because we talked about it so much before the Bengal game? Is it, well, there's 2 weeks, so he's going to be fine? I low-key think that the ankle is still maybe the biggest issue in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's both of those things. We obviously did talk about it a lot before the Bengals game, and then, we saw him out there, and he was really good. I mean, the dude kind of makes no sense. He comes out there and he plays basically as good of a game as we've seen anybody play against the Bengals defense all season. And I don't understand how he does it. It's a little bit of a different challenge with this Philadelphia pass rush. He may need more of that mobility this week, but having the 2 extra weeks to heal up obviously helps. It's going to affect things. I can't imagine that he'll be 100%, but if he's closer than he was 2 weeks ago, we already saw how well he played in that game. I'm not putting anything past him.
When it comes to the Eagles front four, they haven't played a ton of great quarterbacks. They haven't played a ton of great offenses. Does that affect how you view this game?
Slightly. I mean, you look at their defensive numbers, and obviously they're really good, but there are places where, they adjust for opponents. They still checked in as one of the best defenses in the league, and we've seen the talent there. We know that there are really good players on that team. The matchups, I think, for them up front, I think it's important that their best pass rushers are on the edge, and that's probably where you want to attack the Chiefs' offensive line, like Hassan Reddick against Andrew Wiley and Josh Sweat against Orlando Brown. Those are probably, the biggest matchup advantages that Philadelphia has on that side of the ball. But you look at their pass defense and where its strength is on the back end, it's on the perimeter where James Bradbury and Darius Slay are. And that's not really where Kansas City does its damage. Does its damage with Travis Kelce over the middle and up the seam, and then with Juju Smith-Schuster underneath, or Kadarius Toney on screens, or Jerick McKinnon on screens, or design touches, or whatever it is. So I'm interested in, the linebackers and the safeties and how they deal with that threat from Kelce, and whether, the Chiefs can sort of spread those guys out and run Kelce in behind them.
The Eagles have done a fantastic job this year of getting out in front, and then they just wear you down with that big offensive line. The Chiefs, though, don't mind being from behind. What's crazy is, as we pointed this out, anytime that the Chiefs get down by 10 points or more in the first half of a game, they actually have a better chance of winning. So we have a joke here on this show, Jared, that says if the Chiefs ever get down by 10 points, immediately bet the money line on the Chiefs, because they're going to win more often than not, even when they're down 10. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. If the Eagles get up, the Eagles are like, yeah, this is great. We're going to just run the ball. The Chiefs are like, no big deal. We do this all the time. We're fine. We're still the best offense by far when trailing. Do you think one of those has an advantage, being both the best in front and also the best from behind?
I don't know if one is necessarily an advantage over the other. Obviously, you would rather be playing from ahead. That means you're winning. So, even if they have a better chance to come back than anybody else does, it's still a much better chance than if they're playing with a lead.
We're talking with Jared Dubin, covers the NFL for CBS. Is there a specific player on either team that you think could have a big impact? Andy Reid said every single Super Bowl, it's a guy that you don't think will make an impact, makes the impact or makes the big play. Is there somebody that you lean to on either team or both teams that you think will be that guy?
Well, luckily for you, I did our X Factors column on CBSSports.com this week, so I've already got my hands are loaded up for this. I mentioned already the Eagles linebackers and safeties, TJ Edwards, Kaiser White, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Reed Blankenship. Those guys are going to be the ones primarily tasked with covering Travis Kelce, whether they're in man or zone. So they're going to have, a disproportionate impact on the game relative to, how much people know about them or what people think about them. And then for the Chiefs, I think it's their rookie defensive backs. They've got 4 rookies that play a lot of snaps in the secondary, in Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams, and Brian Cook. And those guys are going to be tested, obviously, by A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. And, they passed a really tough test a couple weeks ago with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and now they basically have to do it again against one of the only wide receiver duos in the league that can rival those guys.
It's a completely different duo, though, is it not? Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, big, fast, physical, jump up and go up and get it. Whereas A.J. Brown, I don't. He's big, fast. I know he's strong Batman or somebody like that. I don't remember the Batman version of A.J. Brown. But you got Devonta Smith, who is obviously not T. Higgins or Jamar Chase. He poses a different problem for this team. Do you think the Chiefs' defensive backs, those rookies, match up better against one of those guys or the other?
That's a pretty good question. I would say that it's a different test because Chase and Higgins are at least somewhat similar in terms of the way that they're, they can win the ball on the outside and they can beat you on go routes and things like that. They do a little bit more stuff moving Chase around than they do with Higgins. But Smith and A.J. Brown are just really different players. Mm-hmm. And that makes it obviously a lot different to be working against them.
The run defense of the Chiefs has not been excellent. It's not awful. Everybody says that the Eagles, they get things done with the run, but a lot of numbers say that they get the lead with the pass, then turn into the run. So if you are the Chiefs, is it more important to stop the run against this Eagle team, or is it more important to not let Brown and Smith and Goddard and Watkins go crazy?
I think at this point in the NFL, it's more important to stop the pass than it is to stop the run. But obviously being able to do both at an extremely high level is what makes this Philadelphia team so difficult to stop and what's allowed them to sort of shape shift and do whatever the opposing defense is not good at. They've been able to do that instead. And it's really tough. I wouldn't say that stopping the run is necessarily more important, but their ability to do that at a super high level is what has allowed them to beat basically any team in front of them.
Do you think this is a high scoring game? Do you think this is a game that is in, the over under's 50.5? I think the over is going to hit here. I think there's going to be a lot of offense in this game. The Chiefs offense seems to always put up points. I think there's going to be a lot of offense. What do you think?
I think that my official pick, which we have going up tomorrow, was pretty close to that over under. I can't remember if it was slightly over or slightly under. I didn't even know that was the number, to be honest with you. But I mean, it sounds pretty good. I can see it sort of going either way. If that Philadelphia defensive front is able to impose its will in the way that it was through a lot of this season, then obviously that changes things. But that the Kansas City offensive line is really good. So I don't know that I see necessarily that group completely dominating the game.
When it comes to the Eagles defense, the last two games, they really, it's been the game against the 49ers didn't really count. That's the one thing that stinks to me about this, Jared, is that the 49ers have a fantastic offense. I mean, they're a top 5 offense. Mm-hmm. And after play number 6, it was like, oh, great. I don't even know what the Eagles have to offer because you've got, journeyman Josh Johnson and then, nobody at quarterback. That's the one thing that makes me so puzzled about this Eagles team. And the game before that, you had Daniel Jones, who couldn't do anything in that game. And so that's what makes me so intrigued by this matchup is I don't know really what this Eagle team can do against a top tier opponent if all their guys are fully functioning.
Yeah, I mean, we just haven't seen it yet. I think we do need to caution, though, just because we haven't seen it doesn't mean they can't do it. We just haven't seen it. It's like when people say, oh, this guy or that guy can't win the Super Bowl because they haven't won the Super Bowl yet. That doesn't mean they can't. It just means that they haven't. So the talent is there for them to be able to deal with a top offense. They have arguably the best pass rush in the league. They have 2 corners that could have been all pros, one that was an all pro, and they have talent at safety. And they have a system that fits the guys that they have. They're capable of getting stops even against the best units in the league. But obviously this is, the best offense that they've played so far by a significant margin. I mean, really the only one that even comes close was the game they had late in the season against Dallas. And obviously even that offense is not particularly close to what the Chiefs can test you with.
Who needs to win the Super Bowl more in your mind? The Eagles have already won a Super Bowl recently. A couple of guys have got Super Bowl rings. You know, Jason Kelsey, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham. The Chiefs obviously won the Super Bowl in 2019. Is there somebody that you think it would be a bigger deal, or maybe it would be, you know, maybe a bigger deal that they lose this Super Bowl between the Eagles and this Chiefs team?
I mean, I think public perception wise, you would imagine that like Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni would get the biggest boost in terms of public perception if they were to win. For me, I said after the Chiefs won the Super Bowl a few years ago, like it didn't make Andy Reid any better of a coach than he already was. It just allowed people to admit what was already true. And I'm sort of the same mind about both him and Patrick Mahomes now. Like Andy Reid is the best offensive coach of his generation, one of the best of all time already. And that's true whether they win or lose on Sunday. And for me, Patrick Mahomes, like I've said this a bunch of times this season, Patrick Mahomes is already the best quarterback I've ever seen in terms of the way he's able to play the position at the level that he plays the position. And that's going to be true whether they win or whether they lose. And I said the same thing before the AFC title game, that it would be true whether they win or lose that game. It doesn't like, it tricks our mind into thinking things, I think, is what goes on here. It's like we allow ourselves to admit the stuff that we already think based on the result of a game.
My last two for the road. You can answer them kind of short, simple if you'd like. The first one, Jalen Hurts is going to have a contract either at the end here in the next month, or he's going to have one at this time next year. Would you pay Jalen Hurts $150 million guaranteed? Because that might be the number it's going to take, especially if they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would. Like, it's extremely rare for a quarterback to play at as high a level as he did this season and not be a really good quarterback. Obviously, the Eagles have already seen one of those times happen where the quarterback played at an extraordinary high level and then was not necessarily worth it. But I think that the way that the Eagles operate, they're not going to pay Jalen Hurts and then leave the quarterback position alone. You know, we saw that with Carson Wentz. They paid him and didn't leave the position alone. They're always going to be looking for quarterbacks just in case, or as a backup plan, or to use a trade chips. That's what Howie Roseman is always going to do.
Lastly, who do you got winning?
I went with the Chiefs in a close game. I feel like the Eagles are the better team. I think they probably have the better defense. They might even have an advantage against the Chiefs offense in this game because of all the injuries that Kansas City is dealing with. But the Chiefs have Mahomes and they don't. So that's kind of why I'm going with Kansas City. And I'm just being very open about it. Like, they have that guy, so I'm picking them.
We're still, I don't think, used to that here in the kingdom, because I grew up with guys like Dave Craig and Steve DeBerg, and then you got like a smidgen of it with Joe Montana, and you were like, wow, we got like, you know, the Mountain Lightning Dr. Thunder version of Joe Montana. And then we ended up, you know, hey, we had Trent Green, and that was kind of fun. And then Tyler Palco, and then you had Kyle Orton and Brody Crow. Like, we're not used to having this type of guy. And I still think we're trying to fully grasp that, hey, we've got the Jordan of our era on our team. That matters. We're still, I think, having a hard time with that.
I would imagine you are. One of my friends is a pretty big Chiefs fan, and he's always sort of worried about things, like even in the context of a specific game. He's like, oh, well, you know, now the Chiefs are going to lose. And I'm like, you realize that they've got the best quarterback on their team, right? And it's like, I've got to talk him into it because he's so used to not having that guy.
I know. I get so angry right now at like kids who are like 5 years old right now. And for like the next 10 years, they're going to have the best quarterback in the league. And they don't know any of the struggles. They're just spoiled. So I get why all of us hated Patriots kids, you know, like that annoying kid who held up that sign. It's like, I've been to 14 parades. How many have you been to? And I just want to smack that kid because it's like, you don't know what it's like. You've been spoiled. And that's what these young kids that walk around with Mahomes jerseys didn't have to deal with the Tyler Thigpen era. And it just bothers me. in which I need to just let it go, but it's there. Jared, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it, my friend. Enjoy the game coming up on Sunday.
Thanks for having me. Have a good day.
I'm not going to lie to you. I thought he was going to pick the Eagles. Like, everything that he said there, it was Eagles have this, Eagles have this, Eagles have this. And I thought he was going to say, yeah, they're going to take the Eagles. And he's like, yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs because they have Mahomes. They've got 15. He said he's the greatest quarterback that he's ever seen.
And that's the way I think it is sometimes when we think about it, with the way some games are played. You think about it, yeah, the Eagles, they got a lot of great things going for them. They do. But we talked about it with Dan earlier this week. Sometimes, though, these kind of games turn into what quarterback can go make a play. And the fact of the matter is we have learned extensively over the last few years. We've had numerous victory Mondays, but we have led off with the same thing. The Chiefs have Mahomes and you don't. That several wins this year have been the case for the Chiefs. They have 15, the other team doesn't. And I would not be surprised if, when it's all said and done on Sunday night, confetti falling, stage rolled out, Lombardi being passed back and forth, that this game truly just came down to the Chiefs had 15 and the Eagles didn't. Because, think about Brady's Super Bowl wins that sometimes were the Pats had 12 and the other team didn't.
Speaking of that, do you know how many just insane, close, ridiculously wild Super Bowls that the Patriots have been involved in?
It's been a good chunk. They haven't been a part of a couple. They have not had many normal ones.
I think you could really make an argument that the two best Super Bowls of all time, maybe even three best Super Bowls of all time, involve the Patriots. To me, the greatest Super Bowl that I have ever seen is Tom Brady leading the Patriots to the Super Bowl, kicking it, when he won his very first one, where you had, I don't remember, I don't remember the announcer, that he said, well, I think if I were the Patriots, I'd just kneel it and go to overtime with 2 minutes to go in the game. And then Tom Brady leads in that. And then the other one, you're down 28-3 and you win the Super Bowl.
You're on 28-3. It was done. Foregone conclusion.
And then you've got the hand the ball to Marshawn Lynch. Yeah. And they throw it and it's intercepted by Malcolm Butler. Like, think about that.
They truly, the Patriots have been a part of some wacky ass Super Bowls.
Absolutely nuts. Who's the Eagles number 15? Who's that?
I don't know if they have one.
They got to.
Don't have to. I know Kenneth Gainwell is 14. I know Quez Watkins is 16.
They don't.
Yeah.
Coming up, we're going to get to more what the Super Bowl means, and everyone loves the list.
First, we decide where
Mike Duff, thank you so much for joining us. Jake Lavon along with Fulton Caster with you. Let us know your thoughts on the Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. Outside of Topeka, 785-272-9429. We'll get to our prop bets coming up in the 2 o'clock hour. Everyone loves the list. I just thought of another player that I might have to put on my list.
I want you to know, I was sitting here and trying to contemplate a few over the break. There's a guy just added to the list that I am incredulous that I was almost going to leave him off. That I'm very sad this individual does not have a ring.
Tony Gonzalez.
Did you just think about the fact that you hadn't put him on your list, or do you think that's what I'm referencing?
You're referencing Tony Gonzalez.
I'm not referencing Tony G.
I would have said Tony G, except for I am one of those Chiefs fans that really got upset when Tony G...
You're the one of the ones that got, you know, your feelings got hurt because he said some not nice words.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you how to feel. I'm just going to tell you that it didn't bother me. He can go into the Hall of Fame with his Atlanta Falcons bust.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have an Atlanta Falcons bust.
What?
They don't do teams.
I know, but in the vibe. Baseball is so much more fitting because you actually have the cap with what team it's on.
Correct.
Pick.
Yeah.
Football, it's nice because just the face.
Yeah.
Not to have done those team identifiers.
But no, Tony G didn't make my list. But it's guys
That's
who
fair.
you would have wanted to win a Super Bowl, you know? No, Tony G's not on my list.
As I said, I can only guarantee what one of yours is, and it's one of the ones I have. I wonder if we'll also have him in the same spot.
You're guaranteeing I've got this guy on my list.
I really think, I'm like 90% certain you and I might have the exact same guy on this list. I don't know if he's in the exact same spot. I really feel confident you and I have one of these guys, the exact same dude. Just given what I know about you, what I obviously know about myself, and things we've talked about at times, I think I know. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. That's why I'm like only put like 90. There's still a margin for error. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to be surprised. Like if this guy I have is not on yours, I'm going to go, oh, that's really surprising. So.
Okay. So we got Everyone Loves the List coming up, and we will hear from Andy Reid and Travis Kelce coming up at the bottom of this hour. But let us know if there was an NFL player who you would have as you'd want to have someone win a Super Bowl. Jared Dubin brought this up. More of a bigger deal for Nick Sirianni and for Jalen Hurts to win the Super Bowl than for Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I have a completely different feel about this Super Bowl than Super Bowl 55 when they played the Bucs. And I don't know why. But I don't think I'm going to be as sad if they lose this Super Bowl as that one is.
Like, if they fell to the Eagles, you're not going to be as emotionally crushed.
I don't think so.
I'm with you. I think I am.
And I think the reason why is because I was just so ingrained going into this year that I didn't think that it would be like this.
And I'm with you. I think I'm right there on that same thought process because when they went back to Super Bowl 55, that was the run it back year. It was, oh, they're all back. And with all of this stuff around, I was like, yeah, of course they're going to go back to that. My entire thought year was like, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to win it. It's going to be great. Back to back. Let's go. This year, did I want the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl? Of course I do. I want them to win it every year. I want the Royals to win the World Series every year, though I know that is never going to happen again, probably. Like, I always want my teams to win championships.
Before 2014, if you would have told me, Jake, who's going to win a championship first, the Chiefs or the Royals in 2014, starting in March with the new league year, okay? I never would have said the Royals would ever have won.
No, I agree.
Anything, and they went to 2 straight World Series.
It was great, and I will forever love them for that. I truly will. But like, I begin every year with wanting my team to win the championship because those are fun. But there's also the realistic expectations of what teams can do.
I can't even want the Royals to win the World Series because I know it's not going to happen this year. There's not even like that. That's like saying, "Hey, I want to win the lottery." Like it's such a fluff. It's like
that.
You get what I'm saying?
I fully what you're saying.
There's no way for me to want it because I know it's not going to happen.
And that's why it's different levels. Also with that as well, like with the Royals in this example specifically, like the one's always there for me, but it is balanced, and that level of how much of a want it is balanced by expectations. Like, I always want the Royals to win a World Series every year. It'd be great. I am, though, realistic, and so that want is like 0.00001% because I just know what the reality is. The Chiefs are different. I want the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, and I know they have a chance to, but this was the first year in a while where I'm like, I want them to do it, but I understand it might not happen this year because everything around it. So,
and that's why
the expectations do feel different because we talk. It's house money essentially. This was a retooling year. That's the word they use.
But can you have? And I agree with you. Can you have house money when you get to the Super Bowl?
Because
yes. The
Bengals had it last year.
Can you?
The Bengals had it last year. That's house money.
Do you think it's house money? I don't know if it's house money because you never know if you're going to get back. Look at the Bills. I'm sure
look at the Bill. Look at the Packers. Like a bigger example. And so I get your point to a level with that. With that, I understand because house money, the concept is usually, it's whether you win or you lose, it's no big deal. Like, to me, house money can be built on the idea of, you weren't supposed to be here. Now, there's truly the level of, you may never get back here, so you got to try.
I think the only
look at where both of these two teams specifically, think about what their expectations were. The Chiefs were, well, they could make the Super Bowl because they have Mahomes, but we did this whole offseason. The idiots and the pundits and the hot take artists of, well, they're going to finish last. They're going to have a losing record. They're not going to make the playoffs at all. They're going to get bounced first round. Like, part of that is fueled by the Chiefs are the new evil empire and no one wants to see them succeed. Part of that is fueled by everyone thought with losing Tyreek Hill that it would change it so much cataclysmically. Then you look at Philly, though. Philly tooled for this. Howie Roseman, was wheeling and dealing to a level that Ric Flair himself would be proud.
And I look at this as this is more important for the
pressure's all on Philly.
The Eagles, but if you are the Chiefs, that's another season. And I don't want to say wasted season because I think unless you are...
The Chiefs will not have what you could consider a wasted season until, in my opinion, they have a losing record or miss the playoffs.
But missed opportunity is also there. You would be now 1-2 in Super Bowls and you'd have a chance. Like in all seriousness, I think the only team that is Super Bowl or Super Bowl win or bust was the last 2 years when the Buffalo Bills went to 4 straight Super Bowls. Like, great, you've been to the Super Bowl twice, you've never won it. Like, Like the people are like, for the Buffalo Bills right now, Josh Allen's career, it's Super Bowl win or bust. No, it's not. You just need to get to one. You just got to get there, first of all. Whereas the Chiefs right now, it's just another year that you were so close that you couldn't get that other one. Whereas the Eagles, and that's why I asked Jared Dubin this, would you spend $150 million on Jalen Hurts, guaranteed? Because then that means you think he is a Burrow, an Allen, a Mahomes.
You think he's that guy that
Otherwise,
you can elevate.
You cannot spend $150 million on Jalen Hurts, and that's why they're in such an important aspect of this year and next year, this game, and then whatever it is next year. The Eagles have to take advantage of it until his cap hit balloons up. Yeah. Whereas the Chiefs are already in that spot. And, and does Mahomes get the LeBron treatment? And I'm going to explain this.
Yeah.
He'll be 1-2 in Super Bowls. He's the best player in the NFL. He's the best guy. Oh, but he's 1-2 in Super Bowls. Remember, LeBron lost his first 2 finals. Yeah. And people are like, oh, LeBron can't win the big one. Did it help that Mahomes won the Super Bowl in his very first year and he's scot-free? Like, he doesn't have to worry about it the rest of the way? Or does he become the LeBron where he's so good, but yet he can't, validate it, if you will? Like, if he only wins 1 Super Bowl, then Mahomes becomes Aaron Rodgers. He becomes Brett Favre. He becomes the guy who was
great, but couldn't get the double.
Who couldn't get the dues. Does this do the same thing for Andy Reid? Jared Dubin said, no, Andy Reid was a great coach before that.
And the title just validates. So here's what I'll say to both. Here's what I'll say to both of these questions here. That the Hurts question is why I say this is all more pressure on Philly. The Chiefs are already in the window of trying to win with a quarterback on a big hit. And they've proven they can at least do the winning part. Like, getting into the Super Bowl is partly a crapshoot because you got to win at least 3 games, if not 4, and 1 slip up, you go home.
I don't know if it's a crapshoot because to me, I mean, look at who's won a ton of them. Like, it's not a crapshoot that the Patriots went to 10 Super Bowls.
So if it also goes, the best teams will often prevail. Then the Chiefs, more often than not, are going to keep coming back because they've proven this is proof of concept that at least for now, until Mahomes physically changes and loses some of his athleticism, because that's how the aging process works, they've proven in this kind of a window they can still be the best team in the league. That's why I think there's more pressure on Philly. They're here because their quarterback's on a rookie deal and they could spend all that money elsewhere. That window's open for at max another year. Like, in theory, and I want to stress the word theory, because year to year, you don't know what's going to change. In theory, the Chiefs' window is open longer because they've proven with big cap hits, they can still make a winning team because they did it this year.
I think
the Eagles haven't proven that yet. So
I think the Eagles, though, have this year, next year, and the year after that.
They might.
They got more than just one year.
And not knowing what they do, that window's different. But the general principle is Eagles haven't proved they can win if they're going to put all their chips on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
The Chiefs have. That changed that expectation. As far as the LeBron treatment goes, it's going to happen because it's already happening. Everyone's looking like Mahomes is already getting the superstar slight treatment that superstars of this age get. Everyone's already looking for ways to slight Mahomes and make him. Jake, we 2 weeks ago dealt with an analyst saying that Burrow's a better quarterback. And we just dealt with yesterday guys saying Hurts would be a better prototypical NFL quarterback.
But I think a lot of that is going to change in 9 hours. There will be
the second MVP is going to help.
We talked about that. How many people have won 2 MVPs?
It's what, 13 quarterbacks have 2 MVPs?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's that.
I can't remember. We had the list. It was somewhere near that.
And that's but not only just 2 MVPs and a Super Bowl, it is so small. It is Manning.
It's a tiny list.
And that's why I think once he gets the MVP tonight, the whole Burrow versus Mahomes thing, that goes completely out the door because not only does he have 1, he's got 2. And that's the reason why I don't think he's going to get the LeBron territory as much as LeBron has gotten.
And I get your point. I get your thought there. Superstars in this day and age, everyone wants to be a contrarian.
Then why Steph doesn't have that?
Because to some people, Steph ain't a superstar. Or at least he's not the face of the league to some people. Because it's not as popular to hate on Steph. It's popular to hate on LeBron. Ain't popular to hate on Steph. Why that is, I truly don't know.
So
That's a little bit of an
Josh Allen, Steph Curry? No, because
no, he kind of gets hated on. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
Josh Allen's not Steph Curry. He hasn't won squad.
I don't
So
know.
who'd be that?
I don't know. But yeah, if Mahomes loses the Super Bowl, he's going to get LeBron a bit. Partly because that's what happens to faces of leagues in this day we live in. That's just what happens. The other part is our over-reliance on championships. Like, what is the main reason anyone ever, what is the number one thing they go to with why Jordan's better than LeBron? 6-0 in the finals. He never lost in the finals.
That's kind of a big deal, though.
No, and I don't disagree. I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm not disagreeing that it's important. But that is what's the number one thing every LeBron detractor ever goes to? Well, he's got to lose the record in the finals. That's what we care about.
Bum.
Sports is so much, and I hate it. I will say it. I hate it. I hate the championship-only discourse. Are championships important? Hell yeah, they are. It is important to be a champion. It is so damn hard to do it.
Correct.
That a guy can be
a deal.
It's why it is important. I'm not disagreeing with that. But we don't realize how hard it is. I do not think a majority of fans and even a good chunk of analysts in the media space truly realize how hard it is to win titles. And I mean put the S on titles.
Especially in the era of the Jordan era, with how many great players didn't win a title, and in the Brady era with how many great players did not win a title. So we're gonna get to that.
We're gonna get to it.
Our list is the guys that you wanted to see win a title.
Maybe not the best players who didn't win one, but guys that we personally would have loved to see them with a championship. I cannot lie. There's probably a lot of Chiefs bias on my list, but it's because I love this team so much. I can't lie.
I don't have a lot of Chiefs bias on my list.
I will admit that I do.
And the reason why is there's not a lot of them where I'm like, I mean, that they didn't really have a real great crack at winning it, a bunch of those times,
Yeah, no,
we'll get to that. We'll get to our list. All right, everyone loves the list. Hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. Best example of house money was the Hawks in the Liberty Bowl this year.
Yes, no, that was is a great example, Texture,
Yeah.
because that entire game, all house money.
Yep. Coming up next, everyone loves the list. Alrighty, everyone loves the lists. Players that you would want to win the Super Bowl. What do you got? Number 4.
Number 4 on my list. I already know he's not on Jake's, and that's okay. Number 4 for me is Tony Gonzalez. I get he rubs some Chiefs fans the wrong way. He didn't rub me the wrong way, and he's one of the greatest tight ends of all time. Would have been nice to see him get a championship.
Number 4 for me. DT.
Yeah.
Derek Thomas.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome. One of
Yeah.
the greatest pass rushers of all time. Derek Thomas. Unbelievable. Number 4.
Yeah, would have been nice. Number 3 for me, late addition to my list. Somehow missed my mind, but our good friend Barbara on the YouTube comments reminded me that he never won a Super Bowl. LaDainian Tomlinson. LT never got a ring.
Yeah, it's because he played for the Chargers.
Yeah.
And they had Phillip Rivers as their quarterback for the time.
Which is its own problem, but one of the greatest running backs of all time, didn't get a ring. I loved watching LT play football when I was younger, even if he played for the Chargers. What nice for LT to get a ring.
Yeah, that didn't bother me none.
That's because you hate division teams more than I do.
Yeah, that didn't bother me none.
You hate the division more than I do.
Correct. Yeah, that one doesn't bother me none.
Well, let LT to get a ring, though.
Number 3. Man, he was awesome. Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders was so dang good. And the fact he's a Kansas guy.
Yeah.
Give me Barry Sanders. That dude, incredible. Still the greatest college football season of all time.
Yeah.
Incredible. Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders, that's a good one. That's going to put on the list. That's an honorable mention for me. Number 2 for me, Larry Fitzgerald. Fitz has had such a great career. Such a good, and at times I think underrated wide receiver that I think it'd be helped if he got himself a championship. Plus, just a good guy. I like it when good guys win championships. They get rewarded for just being a good human being. Not a lot of athletes can fit that criterion.
I do like Fitz. I can get you with. I'm on board.
Fitz
with
good.
Number 2 for me, Jamal Charles.
Yep.
Jamal. And the way that Ian Eagle used to say it, Charles, Jamal Charles. I love that.
Love
Was
Ian.
a terrible Ian Eagle.
Horrible, but I get your point. It came across.
Jamal. And then there's Charles.
Love Jamal Charles.
Yeah, number 2 for me, Jamal.
Number 1 for me is Jamal Charles. I love Jamal Charles. He is fantastic, and
Jamal
I think he would get more respect for how great he was.
Yeah.
If he had a ring.
God, just
Because of that, people can still hate on him. Man has most yards per carry of any player in NFL history.
The question, if you could have someone from your franchise to be on this year's team, who would it
Jamal.
be? No, the answer is Derek Thomas.
I mean, fair, but Jamal.
The number 2 answer
It's Jamal. Jamal with Mahomes, elite.
Yeah, Jamal. Number 1 for me, it's Dan Marino, man.
That's fair.
It is. It's
Danny M.
Dan, man. Dan Marino from the Big O Tires text line. Barry Sanders. Teddy Bruschi's won like 3 titles, so that one doesn't count. But yeah, that's what I'm going with. Coming up next, we're gonna get a little AGD update with Greg Akagi, and then we are going to hear from Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. That's coming up here on Mic'd Up. the players in the Super Bowl. Top 11. We go to 11 on this show.
Oh, it's 11, not 10.
We go to 11. So if you've only done 10, add another one. We go to 11 on this show because we're extra.
So I just have to ask, because you've put us in this place, and I must ask it. Did you plan for 11 because you just wanted to be a bit different, and also maybe you couldn't settle on 10 or 2? And I must.
Well,
ask
you just had 2 right there.
I must. Okay, and 3.
Okay,
and 3.
So
we'll go to 3.
Okay.
I'm bad with numbers. We've all been over this.
Okay.
As much of an advanced analytics guy I am, I'm bad with numbers.
That is facts.
It's true. This is not even like a joke or a bit.
Facts.
I'm a big advanced analytics guy. I'm bad with basic math.
Big VORP guy, Fulton.
Number 3.
By the way, I still don't know what VORP is.
It's not a thing.
It
is
is
a
too.
thing you made up.
No, VORP is a
VORP is not a thing.
Was it BORP? What is it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's a baseball stat called VORP.
It is not VORP.
Yes, it is.
No, because we were talking like OPS and BABIP and FIP and stuff like that, and you added VORP to be funny.
Yeah, it says it. Here you go. In baseball, value over replacement player or VORP.
Okay, there's a VORP that I didn't know about. I'll have to look into VORP.
I am more.
I'll have to learn more about VORP.
Look at that. I am more into analytics than you are.
Calm down there, Chief.
I knew about
but
VORP.
Back to the other point here. Number 3. Or did you want this to be 11 just so you can make the joke that we do things up to 11 here?
The answer is 1 and 3.
Okay.
We go to 11. We're like Spinal Tap. You ever seen Spinal Tap?
I have not, but I know about Spinal Tap.
You need to watch
I've never seen it, but I've seen clips. And they're very funny.
Fantastic.
They're very funny.
Andy Reid met with the media. He had a few things that were discussed, including Kadarius Toney's injury. How are things going at practice? Is this kind of when it gets ramped up? Also, schedule. Andy Reid gets a little detailed into the schedule of the Super Bowl. Here's what Big Red had to say.
Coach, it's a bit of a piggyback off that question, but obviously protection issues were the issue in the last Super Bowl for you guys. Can you just talk about how your group, that front five, has evolved, and specifically the impact that Creed has had on it in his 2 years?
Yeah, protection ends up being the issue. You want to be able to have a mix of things in there that you can do. You get into those, if you get behind and you have to throw the ball every down, that's never good. And again, they've got that good defensive front. And then Creed has helped us in the middle as our center, and he's a smart kid. He's big, he's athletic, and tough. And so he loves to play the game, and that's been a real solid position for us.
Hey, Coach, just the success you've had with more time to prepare for games. Do you feel like with all the craziness that comes with the Super Bowl, you feel like you guys are chomping at the bit to play, or do you feel like you need more time to get ready for this game?
Yeah, I think the guys, they'll look forward to getting through today. Today's a little bit harder practice, and this is normally how it works during the season. They get through Thursday, and they really start focusing in and going, doggone, we're there. And start getting really excited. But once they get through today, I'm sure they'll take place. It's been 2 weeks, man. They want to play, So we'll see how today goes.
Kadarius Toney yesterday was limited in practice. This is our last day of media availability, but what is your concern level for his availability for Sunday night?
Yeah, so he did everything yesterday that was planned for him to do, and so, but he's got more today, and we'll see how he does. But he was spirited yesterday and running around like crazy, so we'll see how it works out today.
Coach, right here. Obviously, your rookies have played in a lot of big spots for you, none bigger than what's coming up on Sunday. How do you get them to kind of calm down, go through the emotions of playing in a Super Bowl? Is it a play call? Is it something you have to say? How do you get them to kind of focus in on?
Yeah, normally the first hit, they calm down a little bit, whether it's an offensive player being hit or vice versa. So But I'm sure their juices will be going, and it's important that they maintain their composure and give themselves an opportunity to play to their best. And but again, it's a Super Bowl, and you can coach guys up on it, but they having that experience is different. Yeah.
Andrew Galato with WFUV Sports. Coach, your offense, last season with Tyreek Hill, now this season without him, really hasn't skipped a beat at all. What can you say about Patrick, Travis, and that group, losing a star receiver and now really right back to the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it starts with Patrick, and he didn't go anywhere. That was the plus. He's right here with us, and then Travis is a big part of that. The thing I was most proud of them about was we had all these new people come into the mix. Other than McCole Hardman, most of the guys were new, and the guys welcomed them in, and then helped teach them. So not only did Joe Blameyer coach them, or Tom Melvin coach the tight ends, or Greg Lewis with the running back, but the players, the veteran players, the Travises and Mahomes and McCole, they all helped out getting these guys to where we are now, and where they're comfortable playing with each other there. Yeah.
Fourth downs have obviously played a big role in these playoffs. We know the Eagles are very willing to be aggressive on fourth downs. You guys scored a touchdown on a very important fourth down in the AFC Championship game. What do you make of that shift league-wide, and how do you approach that as a head coach?
Yeah, we try to stay relatively aggressive on fourth downs, and as do the Eagles. There's a judgment that needs to be made according to field position time, the time on the clock, and what quarter you're in, and so on, what part of the game you're in. But and then what do you have on that sheet that looks good and to call, and so you take all those factors in, and you go for it. And then anyways, that's kind of how you go about it.
Over here, Andy.
Yep.
Sunday, before the buses leave this hotel, what will be the routine for you and your team from when you get up to when you get on those buses? What will go down here at the hotel?
Yeah, it'll be very similar to what goes on regular road games, because we have the travel to get to the stadium, and it's a little bit longer bus ride. There are things that are a little bit longer. Your pregame is longer. Your halftime is longer. The commercials, the breaks are longer by 10 seconds, 4 of them by 20 seconds, that whole deal. So, and you've got 2 more commercials, I think, thrown in there than you normally do. But up to the point of leaving, we'll do our pregame breakfast, and because we have to leave earlier than because of the time start and the distance to get to the stadium, we won't do our normal walkthrough that we would have with a night game. So, but that we don't do it for day games anyways. So it remains relatively the same. Yeah.
That is what head coach Andy Reid had to say to the media today. What about Travis Kelce? Here is what Travis Kelce had to say.
I say it all the time, Andy Reid, baby. Big Red. He can dial some stuff up at the right time, create some things at the right time, and then on top of that, everybody is doing their job. It's not just me just go out there and get open kind of play. I'm sure you guys like to think that, but there's a lot of madness to it, and there's a lot of guys doing their job for the big picture. And I'm fortunate that I'm playing here for sure.
Given it's year 10 for you, what did you feel like was your toughest challenge this season, and what was necessary to overcome it to get to this point?
Every single season has their challenges, and I feel like this year for me it was keeping the body at full strength. That was probably the biggest thing for me. Week in, week out, you always try and get back to 100%, and and in this league towards the end of the season, especially with the 17th game now, man, it's tough to try and get back to that top physical form, and especially the older you get. I'm sure everybody can account to that, but it's there's that aspect, and then the challenge of the injuries around you and things like that. But for the most part, for me, it was week in, week out, trying to get my body back to playing in the best physical form that I can.
You and Patrick Mahomes have a very special relationship, and you've talked a lot about the play-by-play mentality. With Mahomes coming off an injury and having a harder time getting out of the pocket, how are you and the rest of the offensive line planning on creating opportunities to move the ball down the field?
Yeah, I mean, that defensive line is arguably the best in the game this year, and a big reason why they're here in the Super Bowl. And it's going to be a big task. But I know our offensive line, everybody that's in the run game and pass game in terms of having to deal with the front and protecting Pat, we're all pretty locked in on the task at hand. And we know it's going to be a challenge. We know that they got some real dogs up front. And even if they get to Pat once or twice, man, we got to find a way to still move the ball downfield and have success.
You and your brother are having a lot of fun with this. You're setting history.
Yeah, hey, Travis. This is sort of playing off Diana's question about always being open. Chad told me a couple of weeks ago that he thinks it's because you were a high school quarterback and you know how to set up coverage, you understand leverage, all of that. How much does that experience, having played quarterback in high school, play into the player you are at tight end now?
Initially, I really didn't. Going into the tight end position, man, it was a pretty big struggle. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't feel comfortable running routes. I didn't feel comfortable blocking. It took really a full year to 2 years up until my senior year in college to really kind of hone my own craft. And then it changed as soon as I got to the league. I went from really being a wide tight end, an inline tight end, to kind of this new creation that you see Coach Reed and the offensive staff really creating for me in this offense. And making that transition, I think, yeah, you have an understanding of what that quarterback is going through back there. You have an understanding of the progression on this play. You have the understanding of, all right, versus this defense, this is where I need to go with the ball. And if you have that kind of mindset, if you're in the quarterback's mind and you're thinking with him and the chemistry is there, there's certain things you can do when you run routes to get open or to just make that guy's life that much easier. And that's my job. My job is to go out there and paint a picture for the quarterback to make his job that much easier, a clear-cut, decisive picture of where to go with the ball. And from that point on, as soon as I get it in my hands, it's just that's when the fun starts. So it's just, I guess being a quarterback definitely helped out a lot because I get to understand I kind of understand the conversations and the things that are going on in that quarterback's head. But at the end of the day, I feel like everybody's got to have that quarterback mentality or that quarterback mindset on reading the defense and adjusting depending on what they're presenting.
Hey, Travis, you spoke a couple days ago about the support that you received from some of the Cincinnati coaches the year that you weren't playing. What kind of role did your brother play too in that, and the support that you received from him?
Man, when I got removed from the team, I got my scholarship took, so I was actually staying with my brother. I was in his room in his house, kind of like two brothers growing up living in the same room. So in terms of rent, I wasn't paying rent. In terms of food, he was helping me with food. So I was literally living off him for quite a while down there, and he was my lifeline. And that being said, every single day I was trying to do the right things. And he went into the coach's office and actually talked to numerous coaches and numerous people in the Cincinnati staff to try and give me another chance to be on the team. And I'm forever in debt to this guy for putting his name, our name, just putting his honor on the line to give me another chance. And so when I say I owe it all to him, I really do.
Sam.
Travis, earlier to a question you said your work to not put your team in the same position you did last time you were in the Super Bowl. What do you mean by that? And is that something that's obviously stuck with you for the past couple of years?
I mean, through every single game, you're going to have those ups and downs, and unfortunately, we had a lot of challenges early on, and I don't think I handled it the best as a leader in terms of stepping up to the plate, helping control the mindset, making a big time play to spark some energy, to spark that momentum. There were a few plays early on there that I just didn't feel like I did my job, and then on the sideline, in terms of the energy and the motive and the demeanor of the team, that's where I really think I could help out as well.
Last question in the back.
That is what Travis Kelce had to say. How about that last answer? The game against the Bucks in the Super Bowl, he goes, I didn't handle that well when they got down early. I needed to be a lot more calm. I think that's interesting. That's the whole experience factor where the Chiefs have that much more so than the Eagles. From the Big O Tires text line, we might have a new thing. So
a new thing might have just been born.
Yes. So we got to go to 11 for
just still a poor joke, but
a
it's
lot
still fun.
But a lot of reasons.
Jake wanted to make a joke.
And then a texter from the Big O Tires text line goes, is that a mic'd up dozen? We've got a baker's dozen, which is 13.
Yep.
Do you know the backstory behind that?
Absolutely not.
We don't know?
No.
Okay. I didn't know. Maybe you knew. I'm going to Google it here.
Absolutely not.
And this, I think it's perfect. We got to do a mic'd up dozen. From now on.
Very fitting that it's one short of an actual dozen.
And it's a mic'd up dozen. I like that. I think that's what we're going to go with. So from now on, kind of like we go up, like we go to 4 for our list, not 3, not 5. We do 4.
We're a little different around here. We're a little quirky.
Yeah. That's a mic'd up top 3. Except that really doesn't work. But I like a mic'd up dozen. Yeah, we're going to do the mic'd up dozen coming up, start the 2:00 hour. That's what we're going to do. We'll get a quick time out. Coming up next, we'll finish off this 1:00 hour. Coming up in the 2 o'clock hour, we will get our prop bet of the day, which I like my props, except for I'm not allowed to make them a same game parlay because
two
of them
of Jake's picks are not eligible.
I still like those. Just bet those solo. But now I got to come up with 2 more props.
We need some alternates to those picks, Jake, so we can make an 8-legger.
I know we got
all my 4 make it. My 4 qualify.
I know. Need an 8-legger. Yeah, I will. We will get that figured out here by the top of the hour. I'm going to figure that out.
I believe in you.
And then we'll make it work. But that's coming up here in the 2 o'clock hour here on Mic'd Up. Mic'd up on this Thursday. We're always glad stopping by, joining us here on this edition of Mic'd Up. We've got our Super Bowl prop bets. 4 of them, one a day. We will get to coming up here in just a little bit. Let us know the prop bet you like. Tomorrow it'll be fun prop bets, which, by the way, today is Thursday. Has this week not taken forever?
It is crawled.
Wow. It has just been so bleedy long.
Yeah.
Goodness. It's only Thursday.
Yeah.
Chris Jones feeling under the weather. I mean, he's still got 3 days before the Super Bowl. I mean, he's got Thursday, he's got Friday, he's got Saturday, he's got half a Sunday. Like, I feel like you should be better by then, Chris.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
He needs to be healthy.
I'd hope he is.
But, man, this has gone very, very slowly. Hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. Let us know your favorite prop bet. Also, today is a big day, as well as tomorrow. Today and tomorrow, our sister stations, 94.5 Country and Classic Country 106.9, are asking listeners to become a partner in hope during the St. Jude Radiothon presented by Cable Dahmer of Topeka. The money raised from the Radiothon helps the doctors and researchers at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. There is nothing greater in this world than the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. The way to get a This Shirt Saves Live t-shirt, which is a very nice t-shirt, is you become a monthly donor, become a partner in hope. The Dr. Phone Bank is standing by, 1-800-592-3530, or visit 94country.com. That's 94, the number 94country.com, or mycountry1069.com. Very simple, very easy. The St. Jude's Children's Radiothon going on our sister stations, 94.5 Country and Classic Country 106.9. Fulton, are you ready for the Mic'd Up Dozen?
I am.
We are going to start with number 1 because I think it's more interesting the further you go down than
where it starts diverging, because our tops are probably going to be pretty similar. If not fully identical.
Okay. Now, this is your top players in
the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 1, got Patrick Mahomes.
Duh.
That's what I've got.
That's what I got to. Duh. Easy. No other questions.
You got
Doesn't
Mahomes.
need to be analyzed. Yeah, it's Patrick Mahomes.
You got Mahomes. Okay.
Yep. Number 1. Easy.
Number 2 for me, Chris Jones.
Okay.
I have Chris Jones, the number 2 in this best players in the Super Bowl.
Number 2 for me is Travis Kelce.
Interesting.
A bona fide Hall of Famer gets to be number 2.
Okay. The reason I have Jones number 2 is because he's the best player on the Chiefs defense, and I still think the Chiefs defense is the most important aspect of this game.
And that's fair. No, that's fair. That's fair to your list.
Number 3, I have Travis Kelce.
Good spot.
I
would have gotten mad at you if you did. And that's just getting a little
number
mad.
3, Travis Kelce.
Number 3 for me, Chris Jones. Chris Jones is the best single defensive player in this game.
Correct. Whereas Travis Kelce is the single best offensive player in this game.
Correct.
And Patrick Mahomes is the single best player
Overall
in
player.
this game.
Yep.
Correct.
That's why the top 3 is what it is.
Yeah, we have no disagreements there.
Yep.
All right.
I had a feeling that was going to be the identical part. Now, folks, is where this gets interesting.
You think so?
I think this is where the diverging will start happening. The true diverging.
Okay. Number 4 is Hassan Reddick.
Okay.
I have Hassan Reddick at number 4.
Okay.
Because I think he's so important to this Chiefs or the Eagles defense, considering who he's going up against.
Okay.
He's going up against Andrew Wiley. The speed for Reddick could be a huge, huge deal. He is the reason why he took out Brock Purdy. And when I say take out, I don't mean that as like a negative way.
Yeah, he didn't go full Sean Payton bounty gate on him.
No. That was Greg Williams.
Sean Payton knew what was going on.
But I got Hassan Reddick number 4.
That's fair. No, that's very fair. Number 4 for me is AJ Brown.
AJ Brown.
It's on the offensive side of the football. AJ Brown is phenomenal and has been great in his first year with the Eagles. He's had a good little run when he gets to play against the Chiefs, though. I think that's my other piece to this is goes beyond just how he's played this year. Is he's been able to show up against the Chiefs specifically before. Last time they met in a regular season with Tennessee, he had 8 catches for 133 yards when he really started blossoming. It's going to be interesting. I get your point on Hassan Reddick and what he matters to the Eagles defense. I think there's going to be a lot of moments where Philly just goes, all right, AJ, go make a play. And one of those rookies is going to stand up against, top 10 wide receiver in the NFL.
When the games are close, AJ Brown has big games.
Yeah.
They didn't need him in the win against San Fran. He was a non-factor. Didn't need him in the win against New York. Was a non-factor. But in the game against New York at the end of the year, they needed him. He had 95 yards. In the loss to New Orleans, he had 97 and a touchdown. In the loss to Dallas, he had 103. In the close win, 25-20 over Chicago, he had 181. In the blowouts, he really hasn't been, a big factor in this one. So, okay, you went AJ Brown. All right,
an important piece.
Number 5 for me, I went with Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
And I went with Jalen Hurts, not because of his arm, but because of his legs. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be a huge, huge running option. That is why I don't know if Miles Sanders will have, the 61 yards. That's his over-under. I don't know if he's going to get to that because I think they are going to run Jalen Hurts a bunch. Jalen Hurts, what I need to look this up. What are his rushing attempts? Because on every 3rd and 1, it is going to be a quarterback sneak, and every 4th and 1, it is going to be a quarterback sneak. So to me, the rushing attempts for Jalen Hurts is going to be.
He has gone in the postseason. He's had 11 and he's had 9. And then regular season is just the last little bit of run. 9, 17, 7, 5, 17, 16, 6, 9, 2. We had 2 against Pittsburgh. 9, 15, 16, 9, 11, 17.
I now need to add that to my list because the over-under is 10.5. He's going to carry the football over 10 times. You look at all those numbers.
Good chance.
He's going to carry the football. They don't have to hold him out anymore.
Yeah.
So I got Jalen Hurts because of his
put on the line.
rushing ability.
Yep. That's fair. Number 5 for me, Devontae Smith. Chiefs corners are going to be having to deal with 2 very talented wide receivers, and they stood up against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I think at some point Philly's going to have to start chucking this ball. I think this might get to shootout territory, which they'll rely on the run as long as they can, but eventually Philly's going to have to start chucking it. If Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown make plays, and they are very good, then the Eagles win this game.
Okay.
But if the Chiefs can stand up against those 2 wide receivers, it changes things up.
I've got number 6. So I've got Mahomes 1, Chris Jones 2, Travis Kelce 3, Hassan Reddick 4, Jalen Hurts 5. Number 6 I have is A.J. Brown. So
Good,
right
man.
now, I've got 1, 2, 3 Chiefs, 4, 5, 6
Birds.
Eagles.
The Birds. Number 6 for me, Jalen Hurts. He gets stuck about right there. Partly because of the legs, and eventually he's going to have to use his arm.
Okay. Number 7, Jason Kelce. Here's why I have Jason Kelce number 7. He's going to have to help out on Chris Jones. And maybe the Kansas City Chiefs line up Chris Jones right above the football sometimes and force Jason Kelce not to do what Jason Kelce does so well, which is get out and pull and get in the open because he's very athletic. He's not a big guy.
No, he's just very athletic.
He's not a big guy
For offensive line standards.
Like Creed Humphrey is a gigantic man for a center.
Yeah, for a center, he's a big old boy.
He's huge.
A round boy.
So that's why I wonder what's going to happen there. Jason Kelce on the inside helping out on somebody like Chris Jones. If they choose to line up Chris Jones on the inside, outside, I don't know. Maybe they want to line up Jones on the outside to go up against one of the tackles who they think he's a better matchup. So number 7 for me, I've got Jason Kelce.
Number 7 for me, best player on their defense, Hassan Reddick. He's going to be a force. He's going to be important to see what they can do.
Okay.
Their defense and their efficacy there in this game, I think, starts and stops with Hassan Reddick.
Number 8 in the mic'd up dozen. I've got Lane Johnson.
Okay.
I've got Lane Johnson because Frank Clark, Dana, George Karlaftis, Carlos Dunlap getting to the quarterback. The reason they were able to get to the quarterback last year when they played the Eagles is because they didn't have both tackles.
Yeah.
Neither one of them played. Lane Johnson did not play. He is one of the best tackles in there, and he is not 100%.
Oh.
He's got his knee is not a knee right now, okay? He's got all sorts of things going wrong, but he's fighting through it. Can the Chiefs, can Frank Clark, can Dunlap, can Dana, can George get to the quarterback? Because if you can get to Jalen Hurts, you can make him pay. So I got number 8, Lane Johnson, which means I go Chiefs 1, 2, 3. Then I've got Eagles 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
It's true.
What do you got for number 8?
Number 8 for me, Eagles' second best pass rusher, Javon Hargrave. Their version of Chris Jones, not in exact output. No one is matching the output from the interior of Chris Jones this year. I want to make that very clear. But he's their interior pass rusher. He's their guy who has picked up double-digit sacks from the inside. The Chiefs are very strong in the interior with Trey Smith, with Creed Humphrey, with Joe Thuney, but they're gonna have to show it up. They're gonna have they're gonna have their hands full with Javon Hargrave. That's why he is my 8th player. And much like you got Chiefs 1, 2, 3, I have Eagles 4 through 8 thus far.
Number 9, I have got Joe Thuney. The Chiefs have to give Patrick Mahomes time, and having Thuney there and that durable can help out maybe with the guy on the edge. So I got Joe Thuney at number 9.
Number 9 for me, James Bradbury. Patrick Mahomes loves to throw the ball. The Chiefs are going to love to throw the ball. James Bradbury has allowed a quarterback rating of under 50 in coverage this year. The Chiefs look like they're going to be healthier on their skill weapons in the receivers in this game. But James Bradbury also knows how to make plays on the football if you are not careful. I think he's going to be, and he's arguably their best corner and best secondary player. So Darius Slay can, get his words in on that conversation. But I think James Bradbury gets up there on one of the other most important players in this game.
Number 10, L'Jarius Sneed. I've got L'Jarius Sneed in this because I think they're going to have to throw the football because I think the Chiefs are going to score. Can Sneed help slow down A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Goddard? That's a huge aspect of this. So I got L'Jarius Sneed, number 10.
Number 10 for me, Jason Kelce. Best center in the game. No stretch to Creed Humphrey. Jason Kelce, best center in football.
Number 11, I've got Devonta Smith.
Falling all the way to 11.
Falling all the way to 11. I got Devonta Smith. That's my number 11. So of my 11, I go Chiefs 1, 2, 3. Eagles 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chiefs 9 and 10. Eagles 11. So of the mic'd up dozen, I've got 6 Eagles, 5 Chiefs in this game.
Look at how balanced that is. Well done. Number 11 for me is Lane Johnson. That man's playing on half a lower body and is still one of the best tackles in the game. It's going to be important. Which does mean my list is top 3 Chiefs, the rest of the way Eagles. Very balanced, unbalanced with 8 Eagles on this list, 3 Chiefs. But when you look at the talent level of players in this game, the Eagles have more overall talent. And the Chiefs are going to have to find a way to come up with that disparity. I think they'll find a way, but the Chiefs also have the 3 best players in this game, and they are 3 of the best players, not just in this game, but in the game, period.
Best players? I think Sneed cracks there because I think of his versatility.
I think he can sneak in. No, I hear the argument for L'Jarius.
And maybe I kind of mixed and matched because Joe Thuney at his position is better at his position than a bunch of the guys that you named at their position. You know what I mean? Like Joe Thuney is one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. Devonta Smith is not one of the best offensive linemen. He's not one of the best offensive linemen.
One of the best wide receivers.
Same thing with Bradbury.
I see your.
You know what I mean?
So I see your point. I do. I fully do, and I agree with you. At that point, because like my process, to discuss process a little bit, was how good are they at their position, and then how important is their position overall?
Mm-hmm.
Like Joe Thuney is one of the best left guards, if not the best left guard in football. you couple with his position, what he's going to be asked to do, and what's around him, it might not be as impactful individually as some of his other guys. That was kind of my logic. But I don't disagree with guys like Joe Thuney and L'Jarius Sneed getting on here because they are very good players, and I think there are arguments for them. I don't think there's any right, like, once you're past the top 3, I don't think there's any right answer to these lists, to this list for anyone who did this exercise.
I do think
the top 3, there is a right answer, and it is the 3 guys we named.
I think Hassan Reddick is that.
Okay,
that,
if you say Hassan Reddick has to be in there as well,
so
I'm cool with that.
At least he's in your top 5 in this game.
I would agree with that. I could see it. I had him 7th. He's important. But I feel the Eagles are going to need to make some more plays offensively at the end of the day to get this done than some defensive stuff, but who knows? But I'll give you that. But I feel with this list in particular, the only be-all, end-all is your top 3 is what we had. Like, you are foolish if you don't think those are the 3 best players in this game.
Correct.
You are intentionally trying to start something. The best overall player in this game, the best offensive player, quarterback removed in this game, and the best defensive player in this game.
You mean to tell me that you're not going to take the guy who is built in a lab would be Jalen Hurts style? Over Patrick Mahomes?
Promised myself I wouldn't engage with that kind of stupidity anymore. It would not give them give people that do that stuff the recognition that they so much crave. Because there's one of 2 reasons of why people in the media circles say those things. A is you're just that stupid. And I mean all disrespect with that statement. You're that stupid.
And I say with all
due disrespect, you are that stupid. Or you're just looking for clicks. And because I can never guarantee which one of the 2 you are, I try not to engage with those because then I'm accomplishing B.
Are they actually different? Those 2 people, are they different?
There's a lot of overlap. That's
a Venn diagram of like.
There are a select people that say that knowing they're wrong. So they're not stupid in the sense of they know they're wrong, but they just want the clicks.
But I feel
it's very small.
The Venn diagram is basically just
the Venn diagram is basically a circle. No. But yes, because that I told myself I wouldn't engage with that stuff anymore, but sometimes I can't help myself.
That's pretty good.
Sometimes I can't, and I have to call it stupidity. Because you're being stupid. You're just being stupid, and there's no need for it. We have brains. We are, for the most part, an intelligent society. But Lord, some of you just say things, and it makes me hurt. Which at times I'm one of those. But the thing is, it's not with my takes. It's with other things I say.
Coming up next, we are going to get to our Super Bowl prop bets. That's coming up here on Mic'd Up. Super Bowl prop bet of the day. This is coming from ESPN. Jalen Hurts over 10.5 rushing attempts. How about that? Jalen Hurts over 10.5 rushing attempts. This is coming from ESPN. Hurts' talent is difficult to quantify. Even though I'm anticipating elevated levels of passing, it's hard to believe Hurts' legs won't be featured. After all, 85% of his runs over the postseason have been designed, up from 60% over the regular season. More specifically, Hurts managed 10 designed runs last week at San Francisco, regardless of game script. That number figures to hold steady in a matchup with the Chiefs, a defense that gives up the third most rushing attempts to QBs. They're going to have at least 2 to 3 quarterback sneaks. I'm going to say 3 quarterback sneaks in this game. That's why I've got Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. But Jalen Hurts over 10.5 rushing attempts seems pretty locked in.
Probably, I would say so.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the experts there, ESPN's betting experts, that's pretty strong. 85% of his runs over the postseason have been designed. He is going to run, ready? He's going to have at least 5 designed just runs in the game. He's going to have at least 2 to 3 quarterback sneaks because they're going to end up with 3rd and 1 a few times.
Yeah.
And they run the quarterback sneak better than anybody. So that right there is, let's be gentle and say 7. I think he's going to scramble out of the pocket at least 4 times. And that's where you get at the over 10.5. I think over 10.5.
That's fair. I get the math there.
Yeah.
I get the logic there. I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
I do.
So that's what the experts say. However, we are not going with the experts.
No, we are better than those so-called experts. We're definitely not.
I did have one here. My prop bet individually, don't worry about parlaying it, was Justin Reed over 5.5 tackles. I think they're going to run the football. I think he's going to help out with the run. I think he's going to have over 5.5 tackles. And in fact, Justin Reed, when it comes to just tackles in the game, and that's assisted and unassisted. Here's what Justin Reed has done recently. All right. 7, 6, 6, 3, 8, 6. So he's only gone under 1 time. So I think he's going to end up with over 5.5 tackles. I like Justin Reed over 5.5 tackles. I think that's a solid bet to make. Now, you can't do that with the same game parlay.
Very disappointing.
You can't do that. Our FanDuel app will not allow that part of the what do you call it? The same game parlay. But I like Justin Reed over 5.5 tackles. Now, can't do that. So you've got Justin Reed for me over 5.5 tackles, Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown, over on the Pacheco receiving yards of 16.5, and Kenneth Gainwell over 4.5 rushing attempts. You can't do Gainwell either in a same game parlay because it is not considered for some reason, rushing attempts don't work in same game parlays, but receptions do.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what their rules are for that.
So I have to come up with 2 new ones. I think Travis Kelce is going to be featured a lot, so I'm going to go with Kelce anytime touchdown.
Okay.
And then I've got MVS over 2.5 receptions. So for my same game parlay that I can do on my FanDuel Sportsbook app, I have got Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown, Travis Kelce anytime touchdown, Pacheco over 16.5 rushing yards, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling over 2.5 total receptions. The value on that plus 1131. So my $10 bet would bring you back $123.
Not bad.
Those are my 4.
Not bad at all.
What do you got?
I've added 4 today. Dallas Goedert under 49.5 receiving yards in this
Really?
contest.
See,
now I have some logic to this that
I know because I
helps, but also hurts. The Chiefs this year have played 17 regular season games and 2 playoff games. How many times do you think a tight end has had 50 or more receiving yards?
Once. Twice.
Correct. 2 times.
2 times.
2 tight ends have gone over 50 receiving yards against the Chiefs this year. Would you like to take a guess, or would I just tell you?
George Kittle.
Correct. George Kittle against the Chiefs had, I just had it in front of me, 6 catches, 98 yards, and a touchdown. Funny enough, in that game, just because I noticed this and it's funny, Travis Kelce had also 6 for 98 in this game. They had the exact same receptions and yards, just Kittle had a touchdown.
And
George Kittle.
The other tight end is Mo Alley Cox.
Incorrect. He had like 14.
The tight end for the Broncos.
Incorrect. Not Greg Dulcich, not Albert Okwuegbunam.
Chargers tight end.
Correct. Gerald Everett.
Yes, Gerald
Everett in the first meeting had 6 catches for 71 yards. That's it. Okonkwo for Tennessee got close. He had 1 catch in that game for Tennessee. It went 48 yards.
Here's what Goddard has done. 23 yards against the Giants, which that doesn't count because they didn't have to throw the football, so eliminate that game. 58 versus the Giants. 46 versus the Giants. 45 versus Nolans. 67 versus the Cowboys. 23 versus Washington, and 100 versus Houston. So he's about 50-50.
Very boom or bust.
Yeah. I mean, those games right there, the 58, the 67, and the 100, but he also at 23, 46, 45, 20, so it's kind of in between when it comes to Dallas Goedert.
That's what I said. It's probably my riskiest one of the week, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it in the bones.
Okay. So what is your 4-leg parlay of your own?
Mine together would get you plus 1135.
Very similar to mine.
Yes. Very similar to yours. Very similar payout.
Okay. If you combine all of these.
If you did the combined mic'd up same game parlay of 8 legs.
Which would be a Travis Kelce tutty, Jalen Hurts tutty, Pacheco over 16.5 receiving yards, MBS over 2.5 receptions, Pacheco over 46.5 rushing yards, Kelce over 79 receiving yards, under Jalen Hurts 238 passing yards, and under Dallas Goedert 49 receiving yards. If you do all 8 legs of those, that is plus 13,318, which means a $1 bet would net you 133. A $10 bet would net you 1,300. Judging off of this, that means Isaiah Pacheco is going to have to be awesome in this game. Because that means Pacheco.
Yeah, you adding the receiving yards, me going over on the rushing yards. We would need a little bit of a day from our guy Pop.
Because Kelce is pretty much, we know he's going to be targeted a lot.
Yeah.
Where I've got Kelce touchdown and you've got Kelce over receiving yards. Not a bad deal to go with Kelce over, and do everything Travis Kelce because he's been such a monster. Yeah. Everything else is kind of a one-off. Goddard, Hurts, MBS, that type of Jalen Hurts touchdown. Pacheco makes me think that this is the toughest aspect.
Yeah, I can see that.
But we're going to bet it.
We're going to do it. And Jake and I might be much, much richer men come Monday. Or we lose $10.
I'm going to have like so many like $5 bets on this game. I bet the Cats to cover an alternate spread against TCU. And they did because they won by 20. So I got a few extra buckaroos that I'm going to put on the old Super Bowl.
A few extra shekels.
Yep.
To play with there.
So that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, our and then tomorrow for our prop bets, we did find this out. The state of Kansas will not let you bet on the funny props. And the funny props are, excuse me, the anthem, first song that Rihanna's going to sing, heads or tails, who wins the coin toss, the tie that Kevin Burkhardt's going to wear, the Gatorade color. Will Pacheco have more rushing yards than Giannis and Steph Curry points combined? Those type of things.
Yeah.
So we'll have some fun with those coming up tomorrow. I am not going to lie to you. I have not been, because we actually have the capabilities of doing so now, I haven't paid attention to the funny money, the funny stuff, as much as I normally would have.
Yeah. That's fair.
So we'll say that. But that is our Super Bowl prop bet of the day. Let us know what you think your props are. 785-272-9429 on the Big O Tires text line. Coming up next, the Kansas City Chiefs. And what are they going to do against the number one pass defense? We'll get to that coming up next. in the Phoenix area. Today starts off the Waste Management Open. Gary Woodland right now +1. Remember, G-Dub won this event a couple years ago. He is halfway through and is 1 over par as of right now. Your leader, Xander Schauffele, 4 under par. There you go. You have a chance to win some serious money if you want to bet Sam Ryder at plus 10,000. What are you thinking? Thinking Sam Ryder plus 10,000?
Probably not.
He's 2 under right now.
You never know.
Golf, if you bet the right guy, you can make some bucks.
That's
man.
the beautiful part of golf is if you just spread out your pick for winners from like 4 or 5 guys, small units on them all. If you hit it right on one of those, it makes back all the money you put out there.
Yeah. You're feeling pretty good. Kadarius Toney, according to Andy Reid, feels pretty good. Running around. Do you think Toney will be an impact? Do you think he's going to have an impact? Is he the Andy Reid said that somebody's going to step up and be a big time player in the game? Big X factor. Somebody's going to do that. It happens every single Super Bowl. Is it Kadarius Toney?
It might be.
I don't think it will.
He's going to be asked to do a lot to a level, and I think he could pose one of the most important roles on this offense, which is the misdirection aspect, the confuse the Eagles pass rush, the using of the jet sweeps. They're going to ask Toney to do a lot of that stuff. I think they will, at least, which means he could have a big impact in this game. Not saying it's a guarantee or highly likely, but I could see it. I wouldn't be surprised.
I hope he does. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I hope Kadarius Toney does. The Chiefs are going to be the number 1 passing offense going into the Super Bowl. The Eagles are the number 1 pass defense in going into the Super Bowl. That normally favors the defense. Specifically, the last time the Seahawks smushed the Broncos, and it wasn't even close. In fact, the Broncos, according to the advanced numbers, had a better passing offense than this Chiefs, but the Seahawks had a much better passing defense than the Eagles. I don't think these are at all the same because they are 10 years apart, and 10 years ago, you could do a lot more on the defensive side.
Game was a bit different.
And I think Patrick Mahomes' ankle factors in because he was a pocket passer in the game against the Bengals. Old 5-head Peyton Manning could not move in that Super Bowl. He had no chance, no hope.
Just mean to Peyton.
He makes fun of his big 5
I know
head.
he does.
He makes fun of it.
It's a big head.
Manning couldn't move. They got to him. Patrick Mahomes can move if his ankle is healthy. That's why I think the Kansas City Chiefs, a lot of it might depend on Patrick Mahomes' ankle. But the last time a top passing offense faced against the top passing defense, we're talking in the top 5. Most of the time, the top passing offense doesn't end up on the good side. The last time it did, Super Bowl 54, when the Chiefs played the 49ers. They've got Patrick Mahomes. We had Jared Dubin on from CBS, and the entire interview, he was talking about how great the Eagles were. He also says the Eagles defense.
Yeah. Maybe you're wrong, Jake. Maybe you're just wrong.
No, I think y'all are confused.
I think that's rude.
I think everyone is confused, and I think the Chiefs' defense is what matters most. Because if the Chiefs' defense can slow down the Eagles' offense, then the Eagles' offense, I think, is going to get worried. The Chiefs' offense, with a hindered Mahomes, moved the football against what was, at the time, the greatest defense since the 85 Bears, and that was the Bengals this year. Lou Anarumo is going to stop the Chiefs. Lou Anarumo is going to stop the Chiefs. And Patrick Mahomes threw for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns on one leg. And didn't have McCole Hardman, Kadarius Toney, or Juju Smith-Schuster. That's why I think the Chiefs offense is going to find a way to make points. Like Travis Kelce said today, why are you always so open, Travis? Andy Reid, baby. That was a pretty good Kelce right there, wasn't it? That was pretty good.
It need to be deeper. It's way too high pitched.
What about his
See, that right there could work.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
His Andy Reid, baby, it is deeper. You had the right idea with kind of the cadence with it, but
it's Andy Reid, baby. It is. That's why I'm not worried about the Chiefs offense. I think Chiefs offense is going to score. It's the Chiefs defense that can they stop the run? Can they stop Jalen Hurts?
No.
We're going to talk about blitzing tomorrow.
I can't lie. I've been excited for this all week.
The blitz.
I may not have ever been. I've never really been a big defensive guy when it comes to football. But if I ever was one, like if I ever had the spirit of a defensive coordinator in me, I very much don't. I think it'd be a spirit similar to Spags, so just dialing it up and just sending heat. Spags and Weak Martindale, men after my own slightly defensive heart. Just send the house.
We're going to talk about the defense because Chris Jones, can they get pressure on Hurts? Can the Chiefs DBs cover? The numbers were pretty simple. The Chiefs DBs really didn't do a great job on Chase and Higgins when the Chiefs didn't get pressure. So if the Chiefs don't get pressure on Jalen Hurts or A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Quez Watkins, Dallas Goedert, are they going to just be wide open and they're good to go? That's why I think the Eagles defense benefits from the pass rush. Their pass rush is so good that helps out their defense.
It does. No, undoubtedly so. Undoubtedly so.
And the Chiefs put up points on all the good defenses.
They do. And that's why when I've gone onto the side of, maybe Eagles defense is the most important, is that level of...
So where are you on? Are you on Eagles defense?
I'm on Eagles defense.
You're on Eagles defense.
It entirely comes down to this. The Chiefs are built to be in a shootout. It's as I've told you all week. Let's say the Chiefs defense can't slow them down, and the Eagles are putting up points. Chiefs have shown that they can be in a shootout, that they can put up points. But if the Chiefs defense is average, gets some stops, doesn't get a bunch, but if that Eagles defense gets shredded, if they are giving up a lot of yards and a lot of points, and all of a sudden the Eagles are forced to be in a shootout, that's not where they want to be. This is the way I've always tuned it up. The Chiefs offense can make up for their defense floundering.
I agree with that.
Patrick Mahomes has done it ever since he's been in this league. I cannot say the same thing about that Eagles offense and Jalen Hurts. They are too much built and predicated on playing with a lead and trying to close out games that they are ahead in and playing tight and being able to grind, that I don't know if the Eagles can make up for a poor defensive showing. That's why I am on the side of Eagles defense being the most important, because the Chiefs can survive their defense being poor. You don't want it to happen. And I agree with you. It is important that they play well and they find a way to slow down the Eagles offense, at least some. But even if they don't, even if the Eagles do what they want to do, Patrick Mahomes has always found a way to try and keep them in a game. Chiefs be down. Chiefs were down double digits going into the fourth quarter against San Francisco. They won that game by 10 plus. Wasn't it 10? Wasn't it a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter?
No, they led the entire game, pretty much.
The Chiefs were down in the fourth quarter against the Niners in Super Bowl 54.
Oh, I thought you were talking about this year.
No, Super Bowl 54.
I was like, no, they
Sorry.
actually cooked them the entire game.
No, yes. Well, they were down 10-0 in the first quarter, and then they pulled out. No, I meant Super Bowl 54.
Gotcha.
That was my reference point is, we were all concerned that entire game. Niners team was playing well. Niners were comfortable. Chiefs just need a small window.
You know what the Niners did? What was the one thing that the Niners shouldn't have done?
They turned over Patrick Mahomes or the Chiefs offense. I literally can't remember who the turnover was. Then they went to party in the end zone.
They partied in the end zone. They picked off Pat, and then they went and partied in the end zone.
It didn't end well.
You don't go run into the end zone. That's what scared me when Jalen Williams went and ran into the end zone to party. I was like, guys, it's still tied. We don't have the lead.
Yeah.
Guys. Coming up next, we're going to wrap things up with the mic drop. All right, Fulton, what's your mic drop?
In about 6 hours or so, Patrick LeVon Mahomes is going to win his second MVP award. Don't take his greatness for granted. It's beautiful to watch.
And we will walk away with some decent, substantial money.
And Jake and I are going to be slightly richer when this day's over, and I'm very excited.
What are they going to do? Who's going to talk about it if he's not there?
I don't know who's going to accept it in his honor, since he's a little busy.
Yeah,
going to get a second Lombardi.
My mic drop. My old neighbor passed away. Hank, you were the best, man. I appreciate it. Coming up next, we got 580 Sports Talk.